Let's see. Oh, it says it's going. It's
Okay.
2 seconds,
All
3
right.
seconds.
So, my mom and dad named me Kirstine Laura Bennington. So, my name is spelled Kirsteen. The name is from the Isle of Wight. And I really like my name. But a lot of people had difficulty saying Kirstine, so so my nickname is Kirsty. And I grew up in Africa most of my life, but my parents were married in Scotland, and that is my mom and my dad on their wedding day with their best man and what do you say, maid of honor? The maid of honor. So that is them. And then my parents left Scotland and went to Rhodesia, where I was born. And this is our house in Rhodesia, and my mom holding me as a baby. And this is where we lived with a pawpaw tree, which in America you call papayas. And the pawpaws would fall in the window of my bedroom, and my parents would just pick them up. Some of them would, but of course they would climb up the tree and collect some of them as well. So in my house in Kansas, I have a lot of African art and pieces that bring back great memories for me of my time in Africa. And in actual fact, my dad's an artist, but a neighbor that lived next to us was also an artist, and they commissioned him to paint the scene of the view from our house in Africa. So that's the view, and those mountains right there are called the Vumba. Those the mountains in Rhodesia, and boy, there were times when those mountains actually surround the whole city. And when the terrorists were attacking, you could hear the bombs flying across from one side of the mountains to the other. It was a very interesting time. Anyway, all my relatives are pretty much Scottish. And this is actually a fun picture of my great uncle, my children's great uncle in Scotland wearing his kilt. And this is him holding his dog in his house in Kelso, Scotland. Oh my gosh, did I say England? Boy, he's rolling in his grave right now. He actually passed away at 103, which is pretty amazing. So my grandmother, she ended up moving to California from South Africa. And here's a picture of her when I lived in Louisiana, and that's my little boy Liam next to her. So it's his great grandma, and they're sitting on the steps outside our house in Louisiana. Isn't that cute? But so, and let me tell you, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. Well, here, maybe I should show you my cute kids. That's little Liam and Darren. That's in Kansas, looking at a little monarch butterfly and enjoying that probably in the summertime. But I used to be, before I was a life enrichment specialist with PACE, I was playing a lot of tennis. And so here's a cute little picture of me on the newspaper hitting a tennis ball in the California Open tennis tournament. So that's me. But I also played a different sport professionally, so I thought I'd bring a whole big newspaper of me on the front page right there, playing a game called paddle. So I used to be a professional paddle player too. Can you believe that? These are the paddles that you use to hit the ball. It's not like pickleball. It's more like a cross between tennis and racquetball. But yeah, I had a very interesting life. Those are only just a few little pictures of my life, but I was born in Rhodesia at the time, had to leave Rhodesia with my parents in a car and drove down to South Africa, Port Elizabeth, and then lived there till I was 12. And then we went all the way back up and we went to England, and I lived there until I was probably around 13 and a half, 14. Moved back to South Africa, lived there until around 17, 16, going on 17, and then moved to California. And I lived in California, and then I lived in Tennessee, and then I lived in Georgia, and then I lived in Louisiana, also known as Louisiana, and then I moved to Kansas. So so I've had a very, very interesting life, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've been in Kansas the longest now than I've been anywhere else in the world. So that's kind of something. So, and I don't foresee myself leaving Kansas. And that's my story.
What?
Okay, I would like to tell you a funny story about this lady right here. Her name, my grandmother's name was Isabella Reed. And Isabella Reed came to visit, not Liam, because that was in Louisiana, came to visit me and my parents when we lived in Africa. So she came to visit, and my dad told her that she needed to be very, very careful when she took care of me as a baby, because, you know, there's poisonous snakes, there's lions, there's hyenas. She had to watch out for all these creatures. And he said, make sure you check your shoes before you put them on, or shake out your towel, or check your clothing. So she was like, yeah, whatever. So I was about Liam's age. I was about this age. And I was eating an ice cream, and she decided that she needed to wipe my face with a cloth. And she went into the bathroom and picked up a face cloth really quickly and started cleaning off my face, which I proceeded to start screaming about. And she thought that I was misbehaving until she felt a very sharp sting in her hand. And when she pulled her hand away, I had all these scratches on my face, and there was a scorpion inside the face cloth. So she'd been rubbing the scorpion over my face and it proceeded to sting her twice in the hand. Thankfully, it didn't sting me, but my poor grandmother got stung. So her hand swelled up like a big old balloon, and they had to get her in into the car really quickly, and they started driving at a high rate of speed down the road to try to get to the hospital. But what my dad had he was always very up on procedures, like, oh, if you get stung by this, you put your hand in hot water. If you get bitten by this, you have this procedure. So he had read up all, and he knew and had the right sense to put the scorpion inside a little box. He had a matchbox, and he emptied all the matches out and put the scorpion in the matchbox, and then took that to the hospital, because you need that because you can't get there in a panic. And you're like, they're like, what stung you? What bit you? And you're like, I don't remember. It was had pincers. What color was it? I don't know. So it was a red scorpion. And so he got it in, driving at a high rate of speed, got pulled over by the police officer. And the police officer said, I am giving you a ticket. And my dad said, well, that's fine, but I'm trying to get my mother-in-law to the hospital because she's just been stung by something. And the police officer said, what stung her? So my dad handed him the matchbox. He said, but I don't know if you want to open it. But the police officer opened it, and out jumped the scorpion. So the police officer stepped on it, killed it, put the remnants back in the box, and said, just keep on going and follow me. And so that was a funny African story. So that's one of my stories. So there you go. Are you ready?
Anytime you
Okay.
are.
So my Scottish relatives, which are this gentleman my great uncle David Fulton. Actually, I do have a story about the Fultons. They came over to, one of his relatives came over, which is also mine, came over to pan for gold in California and struck gold, which is amazing. And then he went back to Scotland and blew it all. So, but these Scottish relatives, this Scottish relative and my grandmother, who doesn't have her Scottish kilt or anything on, but they taught me a poem when I was a little child that I will share with you. Okay, you ready? Bonnie wee lassie, how's your daddy? I come through a biscuit shady too fine. I come through a bottle of wine too nara. I come through a wheelbarrow, button ban. I come through a peahen, give a squeal, and I thought it was a deal. So there you go. Put that in your pipe.